G'day everyone, welcome to the Australian Reptile Park. Today it's alligator feeding. I've got myself and Jake. Now it's quite a lucky time of year because the gators are just about to go into hibernation. And behind us here is 40 odd. And we've got really big male. He knows what's going on and he's ready. But it's only at Easter, if the weather's nice like this, we can get a few more feeds of them before they hibernate. Now if it was cold and miserable, we'd have to assess that. But luckily, we've got a beautiful day. I'll just say apologies for the wind. It's really windy, there's nothing we can do about it. So if it gets too bad, turn the volume down and watch these gators snap away. Now we have American alligators, we also have Elvis, saltwater crocodile, 5 meters long, 500 kilos. But the gators, where they live naturally, is similar to the weather on the Central Coast or Sydney. It's far more temperate than our crocodiles that live up in the Northern Territory in the tropics. So gators can actually tolerate the colder weather and they're able to hibernate. So this lagoon behind us, if we had freshwater crocs or saltwater crocs, like Australian crocodiles, we'd have to heat that whole body of water, and that's impossible. But the gators can go through a whole natural cycle as they would naturally do. Now, a few things in here, there's about 6 big males, and each of them have their own little territory around the pond. They beautifully call to each other, and this last week with a light bit of rain and some nice weather, they've just been calling, and it's a big rumble. Now that rumble is very useful. I mean, we can hear it easy enough, but sound travels 8 times faster underwater, and so that rumble, what it must feel like to them underwater, is the whole purpose of that call. If you're really lucky, I've only seen it a few times, you'll actually have little droplets of water come up off their back when that vibration happens when they call. Now this is Jake's first ever alligator feed today. Let's see how he goes. I'm going to take one of these cameras and jump in there with you. So you'll see a lot more of Jake and gators. I'll try and get you up close and personal so you really get to see what Jake sees. It's a good opportunity for us to have a look at the individual gators and their features and a really basic health check just by observing them. But let's go and feed some gators. Okay, you right there, Jakey? Good. All right, let me jump in.
Try this girl first.
No, it's not sideways.
Hold that for me. Can you hold that?
Wait up, take it that way. Yeah, take it that way and then come back. Just hold it upright. Watch your hand, Amanda.
Yeah, just hold it upright, Tim, please.
Yep, no worries, you have to bring it down here because we've got a big boy right there. Okay, Jakey. Upright?
Hey, Jack, can you hold that working?
Oh. Come on, big boy.
You got 2 there, mate.
I'm just going to stop it, Tim, and then start it.
Yep. No worries.
Try another bit for this girl, mate. There you go. Nice long walk, Jackie.
All right, apologies, guys. We are back.
Back in business. So the big boy over here has just had 1 food item. Oh, what's this? Now they're still a bit cool. Come on, Jake, you got 3 coming in out the back there.
Come on, girl.
Another one behind you, coming in hot.
Whoop. Get out of here.
Whoa! Okay, throw Jakey a bit of food.
Come on.
And you got 6 coming in behind you there too. Keep taking her, mate, right out of the way. All right, let's come back and see if Mr. Googly will come up here.
Watch out behind you.
Yep, you got another 2 at the water. How's that?
Good. It's the heart going. Come on. Obviously a hand feeder. There you go.
Well done. Let's try the big boy.
Yeah, let's bring the boy up.
Okay, we're going to try for a big male. Now you can see here the difference. Just in front of me is a full, that's our biggest female. And just at the back here, we've got a big male. You wait till he comes up. Here he comes, Jakey. Male. Another little female here. Now the smaller gators, don't be fooled. They are smaller, however they move a lot faster. There's no one behind us. Well done. We'll grab a bit for the big fella. Yep.
Watch your left, Jakey.
Two. Well done.
Let's try and get these girls back in.
So Jake's just going to tap them on the snout. It's just using the signal to get back into the water. Got a bit of tucker there. Got a nice good one. Jakey, there's a... Oh, they're onto me.
I might try and take the boy that way, hey?
Yep. Yeah, mate, come on a bit. Here he comes. Alright, now we'll have a stick sit in here.
Come on. Don't do it.
Here comes the big fella. He got their attention.
Come on. Oh, and you're out this way. Girls out of the way. Come on. They're not as smart as trucks, that's for sure.
These are saltwater crocodiles. Jake put these into meat. Much faster, much more aggressive. So, mate, just have to cut one as well. They all look great, you know. Hey, whoa. Another bit there? Yep. Ground. Gator behind you.
Watch your right, Jakey.
Right inside, Jake.
You got one over here too, mate. You gonna run through?
Watch your right.
Around this way.
Sit. You're running out of room there, mate. I've just got to separate the gators. And Jake, here's a nice big fella out the back. Gonna pass him another bit. Go that big boy. Yeah. Out of the way. Come on. Okay, we're gonna try for that male just there.
Tim, are these all fully grown alligators?
So these alligators are all adults. You'll see the big males are all roughly the same size. They're about 400 kilos. And the females vary in size depending, essentially just on how old they are.
You're all good, Jakey.
Here you go. Do that, mate. Another one coming in here. coming in hot. Woo! Jakey, you've done this before, mate.
You wouldn't know it.
Okay, we might jump out anyway.
This big boy's about to get, oh maybe, big girl's going to take it right in front of me.
Okay, we'll jump out. Do you have a few questions, Amanda?
Yeah, heaps of questions actually.
You can keep feeding if you want, mate.
Alright, got some
You having
salmon
fun?
here.
So you talked about a little bit about salties and alligators. What are some of the main differences you can see between the two?
So saltwater crocs, which live in northern Australia and Indonesia, and alligators are very similar. They're all crocodilians, but essentially, if you come to some of the physical features, alligators are typically much darker. Part of that is because where they live is much colder, so that dark coloration helps them to absorb more of the sun's warmth. Physical features, it's a good exercise to think. So alligators have quite a short, blunt, but thick snout. So it's like putting your hands together like this and pushing them against your chest. They're really powerful. And they're mainly used for actually crushing turtles and clams and things like that. Whereas salties are like your arms out. Now they've still got an incredibly strong jaw pressure, but their teeth are longer because they grab onto prey, whereas gators are sort of juggling with clams and turtles. You can see what they have in common is that physically, they're essentially the same. Their body structure, from big scoots down the back to the big bony frame of the head, which is so heavy, they're very similar. But otherwise, you've just got environmental things like gators prefer a temperate climate. Salties need tropical climates. But essentially, they're very closely related relatives.
How many do we have here at the Reptile Park?
Behind us here, there are about 40 alligators. It's a real functional population in that they go through the motions of breeding every year. It's a real dynamic like you'd have in the wild. I mean, and just here now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, with another 3 coming in. So there's 15 that we're looking at. And in this population, they hibernate every year. And about Easter time, when we've still got nice weather like this, is the last time that we can feed them before they hibernate. So we just take this opportunity now to have a look at the gators before they hibernate. Give them a nice full belly, which hopefully they digest. We pick our weather because we wouldn't feed today if tomorrow a cold snap came because they have trouble with the digestion. So we feed today noting that we've got a really nice run of weather. But about 40 gators in there in total.
Just for people who don't really know, do you want to just go through the gator nest raids that we have to do at the end of every
sure.
year?
So we keep a functional population of gators just like they would be in the wild. What that means is they breed. Now, we don't farm gators in any capacity. So in actual fact, when the females breed, they build up this beautiful big nest. They get all the vegetation and bring it in, and that nest becomes the incubation chamber. As it decomposes, it has heat that's generated from that, and that's what incubates the eggs. Now, we can have anywhere up to 500 eggs laid. It would be overly irresponsible of us to even hatch a portion of them. So what we actually do is, when we raid the nest, we go in, subdue the female, which means catch her, do it very safely and remove the eggs. If they hatched in here, they would be eaten in here. There's no doubt about it. So essentially, at the point at which we raid the gator eggs, there's no baby inside. It's a blood cell at best, and we simply choose not to hatch the eggs. But the process itself is that there's actually an old nest just down here behind me. So the female will guard that with her life. Crocodilians are just splendid mothers.
Is that salmon, Jakey?
A little bit of salmon.
It's eating better than us on Good Friday.
There you go.
And then the eggs we choose to keep, do we
Yep.
leave them with mum
So-
or?
So we can't leave eggs in with mum because she will, if they hatch, they'll just be eaten in here. Secondarily, I mentioned before about this climate, the Australian sun's too hot for the nest. So gators, it's a little bit cooler where they are. We get a 40-degree day here in the middle of summer when they lay their eggs. It kills the eggs. So we choose to incubate, and about 60 days later, it never gets old. You have this tiny little nick, nick, and the gators begin to call. Some of them will even do it before they're out of the egg. But from the second they hatch, you've just got a mini model of mum and dad. They are incredibly feisty. They feed really well. You know, they're protected with us because Mum would do that in the wild. She would still guard them in a small place. But you know, to see a little mini replica, it's something that's played out since the age of dinosaurs. You know, they've been here before and after dinosaurs. They're just a perfect model. And in that case, they live for 100 years. So they grow quite slow. And some reptiles only live for a couple of years and they can be sexually mature by the age of 1. But for gators, they can be anywhere from 10 to 15 years. Similar in their lifespan to humans and similar in their development to humans.
So their lifespan, how old can they get, and does that differ in the wild to being in captivity?
Yeah, so gators can live to 100 years. It's, you know, same with most crocodilians. It's really subjective in that if they have a really good life in the wild, they'll generally live longer. But if they're in somewhere where it's really competitive and food's scarce and there's a lack of resource, they will have shorter lives. As a bit of a general rule, in a pond like this, which is very natural, where they've got food, water and shelter, they will live longer than their wild counterparts just because life is a bit easier.
Maybe one final question. We just heard a bit of a noise then from alligators.
Yeah.
What's their vocalizations like? Is it just that, or do they do others in different times of year?
Yep. So alligators and all crocodilians are really vocal. They're my favourite part, and they tend to do it in autumn and spring. So they've been doing it this week, is that you'll get, even females, but big males will sit there and they do this big bellow. And it's just incredible. It vibrates through the whole water and through your ears. Aside from that, some of the noises that you might be hearing are actually when they slap their jaws. It comes together with such force that it makes a big hollowed out sound. Now that's not really a vocalisation as such of gators communicating to one another. Typically, they'll just do those big rumble drones to communicate.
And let's just, I know I said that was the last question, but just one more. How do you tell the difference between boys and girls?
So, you tell the difference between male and female crocodilians. What the vets would do is that you actually put a finger inside its cloaca. Now, it sounds maybe a bit gross, but the reality is that the easiest way to sex a male from female is that if you just feel near its bottom there, you can actually feel the male parts. And so it's a really easy test. Otherwise, if you're looking here, males get the 4 metres. Females will only get to 2.5, maybe 3 metres at best. So basically, you've got one sitting in the middle. That's a big boy. There's another big boy down the back. But all the rest of these are females. So once they're grown, you can really easily pick a male because of his size. Not so easy with the females. Okay, well, we're out of food. Over and out. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.